Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today I am doing 10 books that I think will be 5-star reading predictions, which I deeply hope I read in 2020. That's kind of the point. I watch a lot of Lala's videos. I can't remember her full YouTube name, but she does this thing where she films a video of books she thinks will be 5 stars. She eventually reads them all and then talks about why they were or weren't 5 stars for her. And I've always wanted to do something like that because it just seems really fun to like go back and be like, okay, like this was 5 stars because of this, or this wasn't because of this. I think that's kind of cool. So I have a bunch of books that I think will be 5 stars. The first one I have is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This is a contemporary about a girl who's been dating a guy for a couple months and then goes home to meet his family and finds out he's from one of the richest families in the entire world. So like that's exciting. And I don't know, contemporary books are pretty easily 5 stars for me. I don't read them that often, which might kind of contribute to that, but I always just have so much fun with them. So I definitely could see this being 5 stars because it's so exciting and different. I'm really intrigued. The next one I have, which I hope is 5 stars because the rest of the series is Subsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I'm in love with this series. I've loved this series for so long. It's one of my favorite. The first book, Illumine, is about this mining planet where the two main characters live. They actually used to date and recently broke up until their planet is attacked and only a couple, well, quite a few thousand people escape onto 2 giant ships and are trying to outrun another ship that's trying to destroy them so that no survivors can talk about what happened. Okay, what I love about it too is it has all kinds of different, like it's not a normal book, so it's just really interesting and you fly through it really fast because you can't put it down. I've read the first 2 books in one sitting, didn't put it down until I finished. So the next book I have is Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I'm sure you've heard of this series. Everyone loves it, and I really, really loved the first one as well, so I am excited to continue, and since I got the second one, I'm going to continue with it soon. It's about a futuristic world where science has figured out everything, even death, and so to control the population, there are people called Scythes who kill people, and they can't be brought back once they're killed by them. And there's 2 people who are being apprenticed for a scythe for different reasons, and they both don't really want to. And they're introduced to the scythe world and different ways people take their job, which is really interesting. But I'm excited for that one. The next book, I'm actually like, okay, I'm excited for all of these, but I'm really excited for this because I think it'll be really fun. Also, I hope that sun glare isn't awful because it's kind of awful for me. But that's the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I love fantasy books, and this just seems like a fantasy world that has a lot of promise to it. It is about this world that has a really bad natural disasters, and the entire civilization, human civilization, has died 5 times. Basically been killed out by these natural disasters. And this is, I think this is the 5th time that it's like the 5th age, and things are starting to get bad again. And there are people that can control the earth and could help with these natural disasters, but instead of being utilized, they're kind of like controlled. So I'm really interested in how that goes, but also the back is also intriguing. In addition to the plot, it says, "This is the way the world ends for the last time. It starts with the Great Red Rift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death of a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with the betrayal of a long dormant wounds rising up to fester. It is the stillness, a land long familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon and there is no mercy." It just sounds amazing. The next book I have is like an honorable mention. It's not part of my top 10 list, but I think from the plot wise, it could be a 5 out of 5. But it depends on how it is presented. So I'm like hoping it's 5 out of 5 stars. And that's The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. The reason I think this is a 5 out of 5 stars is because I'm in love with the plot. It takes place in New Orleans, like a long time ago, which already 2 of my favorite things, like kind of like Victorian era cities, love that. There's vampires, which if done well could be really good. And the main character is like super sweet and innocent. She's from a nunnery, and then people start to get killed and and it all kind of revolves around this nightclub that this guy owns who she's sort of getting involved with. So it's like figuring out what's happening and keeping herself safe. I think it'll be really good. I'm intrigued, and I love that it takes place in New Orleans. That's why I think it should be good. The next book I have is After Dark by Haruki Murakami. I can't remember. So, oh, what's her name? Her name's Naomi. I can't remember her booktube name. But she mentioned this author, and it really intrigued me because this book has been described as everything. It's a contemporary, a mystery, a thriller, like every genre in one, and you don't really know what's happening. You have to just go into it, and it just really caught my eye. So it's something I'm really interested in, and it takes place in Tokyo, which I love books that take place in different places. I think that's really fun to like just learn about different places. It's one of my favorite things, and it's the hours between midnight and dawn, and that's kind of like the setting. That's really all you have, and then it's just like trademark humor, psychological insight, all kinds of really awesome stuff to make a great book. So I'm intrigued. The next book is a love of my life, and that is the second book to the Nevernight Chronicles, which is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. Amazing author, amazing book series. Read it, read it, read it. You might want to be a little older to read it, like 15, but it takes place. So the main character is an assassin, and she wants to get into an assassin school, like the world-renowned, secret, but also well-known assassin school. So she's been training her whole life to be an assassin after her parents were murdered by the like dictatorship people that are in charge, because her dad was part of the government. And so it's her trying to get into the school, and then her in the school and learning, and it's really good because it's realistic to what it would be like to be an assassin. It's not all fluffy. It's really dark. It's really good, and it has my favorite part. The reason I love these books is because it has footnotes at the bottom that like expand more onto the world. So like you'll just be reading, and when you're kind of done with the sentence, you can go read the footnote, and they're always super hilarious, and they also expand the world in like a really interesting way. My favorite in the first book, there's this sand kraken, and it tells you about it and talks about how there were these scientists doing research on it, and they had a baby one, and it was growing, and they were recording it, and then they escaped and killed everyone. I don't know, it was just super funny how he described it, and I love it, and I'm very excited for this. Really excited. But before I get to that one, I'm definitely going to have to read this, which is The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan, The Tyrant's Tomb. It's the 4th book in the series. I love this series more than anything. It takes all of the previous series, combines them together. You get to see our previous characters. They're expanded, their lives are different. You're seeing how they're growing up. They're still like seniors in high school, but you're seeing them start to grow up and prepare for like the rest of the world. And it takes a lot of a darker turn than the other books because the characters are older now and the audience is older of these books. Like, we've kind of grown up with Rick Riordan books, I think, so they have gotten more and more intense. And the third one, can't even talk about it. I'm still upset about it to this day. But I love this series. It takes place from the point of view of Apollo. He is cast out of Olympus after the events of the Lost Hero series as punishment for what Zeus saw as his involvement. And he's in a human, like, mortal body with no powers. And he goes to Camp Half-Blood, so you get to see some characters. And he gets on a quest with some new characters to go and free the 5 oracles, because all the oracles have been captured by a new enemy, which is a lot scarier than the old enemies, I have to say, because they're not monsters, which I feel like is what makes them scarier. I feel like, I don't want to give anything away, but I think it makes it scarier that they're not monsters. Well, they are, but like not actually monsters. And a lot of things happen, and I love it, and I'm still upset, and I need to continue. The next book will be Polarizing for All, because I've never read it. Well, I did. I only read the first book a long time ago, and I don't remember. But I have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Never read the series. I think it's because all my friends, when I was like the age when people were reading this, were reading it, and for some reason I was like, oh, I can't read that. I don't know. but I need to read this series, and I'm gonna start that soon. I low-key want to start like 4 different books today. I want to start this, I want to start this, I want to start all of them. I hate myself. Okay, I'm just gonna continue from that dramatic telling you that I need to read that book. That I think will be its own reading vlog, because that'll be an experience for, I feel like, everyone to watch me read it for really the first time. The next book I have is a big one, which is the only one I feel like I don't know if I'll get to in 2020, because it's like over 1,000 pages. That's The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of his most in-depth fantasy novels that people who have read it are in love with it and think it's one of the best series, but not a lot of people have read it because it takes time and dedication. But this is kind of like, this is a medieval style world, and it has like 4 main characters. We have the surgeon, the assassin, the liar, and the scholar. Nope, and the prince. So like we have kind of like different characters, and they all have to get involved to help win this really drastic war, and it's just really, really good. I read the first like 150 pages a really long time ago, and I loved it. It's really good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Rome from the way they fight, and the world is really cool. But the last book I have for you guys, because the sun is really awful, and I'm sorry. Hi guys, so I found out that the last book I was talking about didn't finish because my boyfriend must have FaceTimed me when I was recording. He does that a lot. But the last book I had to talk about was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've heard from booktubers that I trust, who like fantasy books, that this is amazing. One of my friends recommended this to me, so I overall think it's something I really need to read. A lot of people love this book. Of course, I don't really know why. All I really know about it is that it takes place on Mars, and there's a color caste system, and the red caste is the lowest, and the main character's from the red caste, and there's like a political uprising because the people find out they've been lied to, and that's really all I know. But I'm excited. I've heard some really great things about the characters, like people really love the main character in this book, so it could definitely be something really great. But I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, leave me a like down below. Tell me books that you have that you think will be 5-star reads, any of the books on my list that you want to read or you have and what you gave them, and like just anything having to do with books that you're really excited to read. I would love to have a conversation about that. But I'll see you all in my next one. Bye bye.